All right, welcome guys. Happy Monday. We got a big slate to talk about and not a lot of time. This is going to be one of those slates where it's a really good GPP slate. Talk about there's so many different ways you can get different on this one. There's a couple pieces of chalk value that I don't agree with at all. Broderick Thomas is going to be popular. Saban Lee going to be the chalk. There are so many different ways you can get different on this slate that, again, it makes for a really, really good tournament slate. But also, again, there's a lot of unknown, right? There's some new players, don't necessarily know what the role is going to be with their new team. How many minutes are they going to get? Are they even going to play? Kind of like the Magic situation last night. So it's really one of those slates where you got to be on your phone all night long. If you have plans tonight and you're playing DFS, you got to cancel those. Because, again, if you're playing big money on the slate, you got to be on your phone literally the entire night. So let's start with beginning of the day. Jaylen Brown out. Not as big news as you think because Evan Fournier is in. Still do think Tatum looks pretty solid there. Kyle Lowry, we're still waiting for this news. That's pretty big. If he's out, again, Van Fleet, Siakam look like safe plays with some upside. Hartenstein expected to make his Cavs debut. Also, Larry Nance now questionable. If Larry Nance is out and Isaiah Hartenstein starts, he's the easiest play of the day, and it's not close. Smash value if he starts. We don't know if he's going to play for sure, though, right? New team. So, again, that's what makes this slate such a good GBP slate, is there's so many moving pieces here. Bradley Beal out. Obviously, Westbrook is the clear cash game spend up. Don't get cute there in cash games. Definitely can get different in GBPs. There's so many other ways you can go. But, yeah, Westbrook for cash, play him, and move on. Let's see. Chandler Hutchinson available to make the debut. Means absolutely nothing to me. One of the worst players in the NBA. Steph Curry, probable. Like him, I think he's going overlooked. 9.4K in a great matchup. He's going to be low owned. Again, I like him a lot here. Kobe White, questionable. Doesn't do a ton for me. Maybe make Santa Rancy a little bit more viable here. Again, Larry Nance, questionable. Goran Dragic will play, and that's what we got so far. All right, so I don't really have time to go over the Vegas odds just because, again, there's so many moving pieces here, but let's start off with Indiana and Washington. On the Pacers side, I think there's no priorities for me. I think the top four guys are all in play with Sabonis, Brogdon, LeVert, and Miles Turner because of the good matchup. Again, I mentioned Miles Turner in my video because of his ability to block shots, but he really needs one of those big games of like 7 blocks for him to have a big game. So I'm not super excited about him. I think he's viable, but you need one of those games where he goes for like 5-6 blocks. LeVert versus Brogdon is close for me. I think I'd give that edge to Brogdon, who does a little bit more of the peripheral stats. But yeah, both Brogdon and Sabonis have taken a hit with LeVert being in the lineup. So, like, I think both the top two guys are viable here with Brogdon and Sabonis, but no priorities on this one. Chandler Hutchinson watching this stream. All right, let's move on to Washington. So, Russell Westbrook, again, for cash games, it's clear, right? You don't get cute here. Without Bradley Beal, clear play. Now, you can definitely make the argument to fade him for GPPs. I still think he's one of the best spend-ups of the slate. But there's 11 games, and like I said, there's a lot of ways you can go. I think that the chalky build is going to be more the stars and scrubs build. I actually think the balanced build is viable today if you want to get different. There's a lot of good plays in that like 6-7K range. I think are going a little bit overlooked. But yeah, Westbrook and clear play for cash games. Now we are getting Jerome Robinson is starting at the flat min price. He, like Garrison Matthews, a little bit score independent, but for me, I actually prefer Robinson to Garrison Matthews. I think he's just a slightly better player, even though he hasn't really been in the rotation. I think he can do a little bit more of the peripheral stats as compared to Garrison Matthews. So, again, how many minutes do we get from Jerome Robinson? Well, he played 18 when Beal went down. He's starting, I would say, mid-20s minutes. Again, at the flat min price, you don't need a ton for him to pay off that salary. So, I'm actually a little bit intrigued there by Jerome Robinson at the flat min. Again, Garrison Matthews have played minutes, just so reliant on the scoring. The Wizards' value is just always so gross to me. But probably one of those guys will get there. I think I'll lean Robinson a little bit cheaper. The bigs, no thank you. I'm not playing the lottery tonight. There's other ways I can get different on the slate. Let's move on to New Orleans and Boston. Zion Williamson, another player, I think was going to go very much overlooked today. 8.8K, not necessarily the best matchup, but hey, he's been phenomenal recently. Should play big minutes. Should stuff the statue. We're still waiting on Lonzo Ball news unless we just got that. I haven't seen anything yet. Not yet on Lonzo. So if Lonzo's out, you couldn't go to NAW in the mid-range. He's not like a smash value play, but he should play around mid-30s minutes. A guy who's aggressive on the offensive end can get some of the peripheral stats as well. So some interest there in NAW. You guys know I'm a huge fan of his. Other than that, not much here. I don't think I get to anyone else on the Pelicans. Moving on to Boston again. So no Brown. So Tatum, I think, is a pretty decent play, but Fournier is playing. I think Tatum's the safest one here. 8.6K, should play high 30s minutes in a good matchup. So do kind of like Tatum. With Kemba and Fournier, I'm probably going to stay away from Fournier in his first game. Kemba's a fine play in the mid-range and will go overlooked. Robert Williams is a viable tournament play. Not playing huge minutes. He's a great point per minute guy. If you need someone like a dart throw value play, I think you could look to a guy like Grant Williams, who's played mid-20s minutes last couple of games. He's just not a good point per minute guy. So that's it for Boston. Let's move on to Minnesota and Brooklyn. So starting on the Minnesota side, Karl-Anthony Towns, another spend up that's going to go overlooked, right? It's 11 games, and we know where the majority of people spending up are going to use Westbrook. So again, a lot of the other spend ups in the slate are going to go a lower owned. So Karl-Anthony Towns is one of those guys I think gets sneaky upside. Great matchup here. He's playing huge minutes too. Huge minutes. Brooklyn is not good against the center, so I do like Cat as contrarian spend up. Edwards, Beasley, I'll pass on both. I mean, both are going to get shots up. You can use those two if you like full game stack it, but on this like main slate, if you're building just like a safer lineup, no. And the value, no thank you either. Moving on to the Brooklyn side, so the top two guards are in play here with Harden and Kyrie. Great matchup here. Is a little bit of blowout risk. Harden should play about 40 minutes. Kyrie about 35. Kyrie's a little bit cheaper. Again, don't have a super strong lean. If you made me pick, I guess I would go Harden. But like both the Brooklyn guards here, in a great matchup, you can definitely do a little mini game stack with like Harden and Cat or Kyrie and Cat. I kind of like that. Value, there's only one guy I would consider, that being Nick Claxton at 4-2. Should play low to mid 20s minutes. Has had bad games and back-to-back games, but previously has been like a pretty solid point per minute guy. The only issue is he's 4.2K, right? So, man, if he was a little bit cheaper, I would have some more confidence there. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? McDermott out. Yeah, doesn't do much for me. Robinson is fool's gold. He's cheap. He's mid-price. Viable play on the slate for sure. Yeah, Robinson, again, I would rather play Jerome Robinson than Garrison Matthews. All right, where are we at right now, guys? 240 viewers, 23 likes. Can we get to 100 before the end of the show? I'll be on for another 30 minutes, so if you do enjoy the free videos, if you do enjoy the free live streams, would really, really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It really does help me out a ton, guys. All right, so let's move on to Miami and New York. On the Miami side, we just got news that Goran Dragic is playing. Assuming he starts, I think he's a safer player as long as there's no minutes limit. I would think we get 25 to 30 minutes out of him with no Kendrick Nunn. Yeah, fair play in the mid-range. Jimmy and Bam, it's just not the best matchup. If you get to Jimmy Butler's contrarian option, you that's fine, but I'm not really prioritizing him. Bielitsa's available, so maybe that they lose minutes for Trevor Ariza. I still think, I guess you could look to Ariza for value, but I'm a little bit worried, like, what is Bielitsa's role going to be? He might not even be in the rotation. We don't know, but that just does make Ariza a little bit riskier. Moving on to New York, we got to get this Julius Randle news, and we need this like soon. Because this will change the slate for sure. McDermott out. Still no Randle news. So if Randle's out, we already have Mitchell Robinson out. Then I think two good value plays would be Nerlens Noel and would be Taj Gibson. Nerlens Noel probably plays mid-30s minutes and is priced below 5K. I know it's not a good matchup, but then Taj Gibson, same thing, right? He played 34 minutes the last game. So these two guys for value, I would like, assuming that Julius Randle's out. Now, if Julius Randle is in, and even Reggie Bullock is in, I'm staying away from New York. There's no one I have interest in. If Randle and Bullock are both out, then I think it makes like Barrett and Burks viable tournament plays just because they're going to play massive minutes. I know it's not a good matchup, but they're going to play massive minutes, and they both get a massive usage boost. So those two guys intriguing for tournaments if Randle's out. But yeah, if there's no Randle for value, I like Noel. I like Taj Gibson because I just think they're going to play big minutes. I move on to Toronto and Detroit, another one where, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. We are waiting on news. Kyle Lowry currently questionable. If Kyle Lowry is out, I like Van Fleet. I like Siakam. I'm fine going right back to the well here. Both had subpar games. 40 fantasy points for Van Fleet and 39 for Siakam. The good thing is just, again, the massive minutes. Massive minutes for both. Detroit is not the best defensive team, so I do have interest in both Van Fleet and Siakam. I think they're safe plays in the mid-range with upside if Kyle Lowry is out. And then, yeah, you could add OG Anunoby to the mix, too. He also gets a little bit of a boost. I don't love the price. I think if I was spending up for the Raptors, I'd rather get to Siakam or Van Fleet. And last guy I mentioned here is Chris Boucher for tournaments. When Lowry is out again, that was one less body in the rotation. So Boucher played more. He played 24 minutes. if we get like mid-20s minutes again from Chris Boucher, he can definitely have a ceiling game at this price. Like he can go for 30 to 40. So would be intrigued there by Boucher for tournaments if there's no Lowry. That's about it. Like Gary Trent Jr. was the chalk bust last slate. Again, just very reliant in the scoring. The reason we all got to him is because there just wasn't any value that last slate, right? And he was at 4.8. Again, unfortunately, did not play well and shot terribly. So that is what I got there for Toronto. Moving on to Detroit. Can't believe I'm a Pistons fan. But Jeremy Grant, no thank you on the slate. The only really guy that's viable here is Saben Lee, assuming he starts. Again, right now there's not a ton of smash value. He started last game, he played 24 minutes. He's like a decent point per minute guy. A guy can fill up a stat sheet. So if he starts again, yes, he's in play. But like I said at the beginning, if Saben Lee is going to be the chalk on this slate, for GPPs, I'm fine getting elsewhere. So he's really the only guy I'm considering for Detroit. Moving on to Memphis and Houston on the Memphis side. Ja JV. Ja more for cash games because the minutes are more secure for him. I know he had a bad game last game. I'm not super worried about it. And then Jonas Valanciunas for tournaments. Not playing huge minutes, but especially if there's no Christian Wood, he should be able to feast against like Kelly Olynyk and DJ Wilson. So JV again for tournaments. Ja for cash. Not much else here for Memphis. Moving on to Houston. So big news, again, Christian Wood, currently questionable. This will change a lot. If Christian Wood is out, absolutely love Kelly Olynyk, assuming he starts. Played 25 minutes. Well, 1, we got foul trouble. 2, we got a blowout last game. So he would have gone for 50 plus if he didn't get in foul trouble when the game stayed close. So absolutely love Kelly Olynyk for value if there's no Christian Wood and he starts again. And then John Wall, I like a good amount. I don't know if he's going to be super popular. Again, if you played him at Kelly Olynyk like myself that last slate, you got insanely unlucky. Wall should have gone for 60. Kelly O should have won for 50. Still tilted about that, but yeah, that's a story for another day. John Wall is a guy that is right now is massive usage. 15, 25, 14 shot attempts, the assist too. He's got the ball in his hands a ton, and he's playing huge minutes. It's a good matchup. I like John Wall a good amount here. I don't know if he's going to be super popular. I'm fine with Kevin Porter Jr. if you want to stack this game up and go like Ja Morant, John Wall, Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. should play around 30 minutes. Again, does get a boost there if there's no Christian Wood. Value, no thank you with Daniel House back. All right, so where are we at here? We got 5 games left. Let's give Fantasy Labs a refresh if we got any more news here. Still nothing yet. Okay, so let's move on to Dallas. Dallas, my one worry here is blowout because OKC is pretty thin, but Luka Doncic, if this game stays close, I think is a good spin up. Now, I do think with all the good spin ups in the slate, Luka's going to go overlooked, or people are going to avoid Luka because of the blowout. And I agree, right? It makes Luka a lot riskier. But hey, if this game stays close and you get like a 5% on Luka, he could smash. So I'm intrigued by Luka. I think for cash games, he's just fringe cash game viable because of the blowout risk. But for GPPs, I do have some interest there. Man, Porzingis fine, but I would rather spend up for Luka. And the rest of the Dallas Mavs are priced up from when Luka's out, so I'm not going to go to any of them. Moving on to OKC. So I think this is where I'm going to take my biggest stand of the night. I think he's going to be popular, and that's Moses Brown at 6.8K. Reason he's going to be popular, people are box score watching here, okay? 43 and 50 fancy points. Now, I agree, right? He's a good point per minute guy. He's not going to average 50 fancy points a game here. Another thing that is a risk with Moses Brown, especially at this price, foul trouble. And early on, foul out, 4 fouls. This guy is a guy that is in foul trouble a good amount. So if you're paying almost 7K for Moses Brown and he gets an early foul trouble, call it a night. Put your phone away, go to bed, your night's over. You lost. So, at this price point, you absolutely need him to be out there, and he cannot get in foul trouble. And that is the risk of Moses Brown. If he's going to be popular on an 11-game slate at this price, I'm perfectly fine looking elsewhere. So, if I knew he would stay out of foul trouble and I knew he's going to play 30 minutes, I think he's a solid play. But I still, again, we're not going to get 50 fancy points from Moses Brown most likely. So that's the stand that I'm taking here. Moving on to other pieces here in OKC. So Maladon at 5.8K, fair play in the mid-range. One for big game last game with no SGA. Poshesky at 5.4. Again, fine option, but it seems a little bit pricey. Roby should... Well, what I'm curious to see is what is Tony Bradley's role in this offense? Because if Tony Bradley doesn't play, Isaiah Roby will play the backup 5, which actually does give him a boost. But if Tony Bradley plays, then Roby's only going to play the 4, which doesn't make him as appealing. So another situation where it's like we're kind of guessing, right? They said Tony Bradley's available. We don't know if he's going to play for sure. Kenrich Williams is another guy that's intriguing. He played 30 minutes last game with no Lou Dort. Assuming he starts, I think he's actually a fine play that does go overlooked on the slate. Not super interested in Svi Mykhailiuk. And Bradley, I think, is a sneaky play here. Really, really risky because this is the first game with his team, and we don't know what his role is going to be. I would think he plays the backup 5 and play around 20 minutes, but that's just a guess, right? There's no guarantee he plays. This is one where, again, I think you could get, if you want to get really contrarian, maybe you take a shot on Tony Bradley. You take a dart throw on him and hope he's in the rotation because he's actually a pretty solid point per minute guy. So Bradley, again, a little bit intrigued by him as a dart throw for GPPs, but that is it for OKC. So, all right, where are we at, guys? Let's refresh this. Lonzo Ball closer to doubtful. Okay, so yeah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, viable play in the mid-range. All right, Sacramento and San Antonio. Another game I think will go a little bit overlooked. Fox at 9.5 is definitely a contrarian play. Not out of play. He's been playing unbelievable. Again, not an optimal play by any means. Is he fully out of play? No. I think you could use him to get different just because he's playing massive minutes and still has upside even at that price. Rashawn Holmes, also viable for tournaments. These two guys, again, strictly GBP plays because their price points. Definitely contrarian. Holmes has the foul trouble risk, plus the price is up to a point where it's like, if he gets in foul trouble, again, like Moses Brown, just call it a night, right? That's why I always tilt so hard about Rashawn Holmes, because when I play him, like if he gets in early foul trouble, the night's over. It's over. So just like Moses Brown, if you play Rashawn, if you take a low shot and a low on Rashawn Holmes and he picks up 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes, call it a night. Your night's over. Barnes healed, no. Halliburton a little bit too pricey now. DeLon Wright will be in this rotation too, but I'm absolutely not paying $5K for him. And that is it for Sacramento. So let's move on to San Antonio. San Antonio is a team that actually does intrigue me here. I think everyone will be low on the top 4 guys viable here. DeRozan's probably the safest. Should play mid-30s minutes. Good matchup. DeJounte Murray viable for tournaments. Not as consistent as DeMar DeRozan, but still has similar upside. And then Jakob Poeltl has been playing about 30 minutes. I also think he goes overlooked. 5'7", a guy that can block some shots. Sacramento, again, not a good defensive team. So Poeltl, another guy I have some interest in mid-range. And I'm fine with Derek White, too. 38, 33 minutes last couple games. So the top 4 guys there for the Spurs are all viable. I will say, though, no priorities. But, hey, I think all 4 will be a little bit overlooked in the slate. And in a great matchup like this against Sacramento, I think you can take some shots here. You can even stack this game up, right? You can run a couple of these Spurs, run it back like Fox or Holmes. I'm fine with that for tournaments. So, all right, let's see. Where are we at? We got about 15 minutes left, so I'm trying to move fast here, guys. We're still waiting on a ton of news. So moving on to Cleveland. Big news we just got again. So no Jared Allen. Big news is Larry Nance is now questionable. So if Larry Nance is out, it's either going to be like Dean Wade or Isaiah Hartenstein that starts. If Isaiah Hartenstein starts at 3.2K, again, I think he's the best play of the night. Absolutely love Hartenstein if he starts. He's a solid point per minute guy, so just keep an eye on this one, right? Could be sneaky value, and if we get this news way later in the night, like maybe 30 minutes before this game locks, I don't think Hartenstein's going to be that popular, right? Because people are going to play value plays in the early games. So again, keep an eye on this one. You could even bank for it, right? You can hope that happens, right? You hope that Nance is out when you take a shot on Hartenstein, because I think he's a sneaky value play that if Nance is out and he starts, love me some Isaiah Hartenstein. The 2 guards are fine tournament plays because they play big minutes. Again, Dean Wade, maybe they start him instead. But I don't love the price. At 4.8K is not the best price. I would rather take a shot on a guy like almost min price, right? And then Broderick Thomas, I've heard like if he's going to be like 20% on this slate, I am absolutely not playing that. There's no way I'm considering it. Would rather take a shot on Jerome Robinson, to be honest, at a similar price. I just think Jerome Robinson's a much better player than Broderick Thomas. I can't believe he even started that last game. On the Utah side, so I'm probably going to avoid this team just because they're fully healthy and the blowout risk. Nothing here for me. Moving on to Chicago and Golden State. The Chicago side, Levine and Vucevic as tournament plays, I think are viable options. Vuce wasn't great at his first game. Levine also struggled a bit. Again, he's a little bit banged up. Keep an eye on Kobe White, though. Kobe White played... What did he play? He's been playing mid-20s minutes. If he's out, I think they actually would solidify Satoransky's minutes. He lost minutes the last game. So, Satoransky, I guess, would be in play if there's no Kobe White. And then Daniel Tice probably plays the backup 5, and we don't know how many minutes for sure he's going to play. They also have Thad Young. They have a lot of pieces that's just do I want to take a shot here in an 11-game slate? Probably not. On the Golden State side, so again, Steph Curry, I really like him tonight. As long as there's no limitations, and he's good to go. I don't think there will be. Good matchup, should play 35 minutes, and he's at 9-4. Everyone's going to Westbrook. But you got Steph Curry, $1,500 less. That's going to go overlooked in the slate. I really, really like Steph for tournaments. Wiggins and Oubre, the easiest thing I will say, absolutely not at their prices with Steph Curry playing. You could not pay me to play 7.4K Andrew Wiggins in the slate with Steph Curry playing. Draymond Green, on the other hand, a little bit more viable. Should play 30 to 35 minutes. Has been a little bit disappointing recently. But we know, right? Draymond Green went on a stretch where he looked like the old Draymond Green. He's been a little bit up and down this season. But hey, with Steph Curry back, maybe that boosts his assist numbers. So I actually am a little bit intrigued here by Draymond Green at that price. Finally, Milwaukee and the Clippers. On the Milwaukee side, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo for me, and that is it. I think Giannis is a really, really good tournament player. I know the Clippers are good defensively, and like I said, there's other good spin-ups in the slate, but hey, Giannis is going to go very overlooked in the slate. He's been bad recently, right? The box score watchers will look, and they're going to avoid him. And again, I don't think Giannis is a cash game play, but I think he's a really good tournament option here because of recent play, right? You're kind of buying low on him, bad back-to-back games, plus, Clippers matchup. So Giannis is a guy I actually really like for tournaments. And the Clippers side, this is a team that I think are going pretty overlooked in the slate. I absolutely love the Clippers on this slate. They ran, if you looked at that rotation last game, they basically ran a 7-man rotation. And no one's talking about the Clippers, right? Pat Patterson played 10 minutes. Everyone else here, let me go over the minutes. This isn't a blowout. This was in a blowout for the Clippers 2 games ago. Let me just bring it up. Let's see. Where are the LA Clippers? So, yeah, in a blowout. Kawhi 34, Marcus Morris 31, Zubac played 21. He was in foul trouble. Reggie Jackson played 29. Paul George played 38. Batum 35 out the bench. Terrence Mann 29 out the bench. And Pat Patterson played 11. And then at the very end, they brought in these scrubs with the last 3 minutes. So, hey, this Clippers team, I actually do like a good amount. Kawhi, Paul George, I think both go overlooked. I like both. Up-tempo game, Milwaukee, sure, they're a good team, but they play really fast, which is good for the Clippers, plus a tight rotation, plus Kawhi Leonard and Paul George below 9K. Really like both of them. Ivica Zubac at 5.9. Again, he got in foul trouble last game. Not super worried about that. I think we get about 30 minutes from him. Marcus Morris for value, 4.5K. Should play around 25 to 30 minutes. Fair play. Reggie Jackson played more. Played 29 minutes. I think he's a viable tournament play. Terrence Mann off the bench. He's been playing, 24, 32, 29 minutes. I'm expecting mid-20s minutes. He's actually, a solid point per minute guy. A little bit intrigued by him for value. And then Batum, right? He played 35 minutes last game. I think we get around 30. Not a great point per minute guy. But all these Clippers, like value guys, I think are in play just because the shortened rotation plus the up-tempo game. So I think this team's going overlooked. I'm pretty high in the Clippers today. All right. One more time. Let's refresh this and look at some questions. Rockets. Okay. So Christian Wood out, huge news, right? Love Kelly Olynyk. Avery Bradley available to make his Rockets debut. Ugh, I'm not playing washed up Avery Bradley. But yeah, Kelly Olynyk looks great. Like John Wall a lot on this slate. Let's get to questions, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We got over 300 viewers, 72 likes. I appreciate that. Kelly O season, yeah, love Kelly O for sure. Kelly O 80%, can't fade though. Doncic season, yeah, with no Bobby Portis. He played really well, obviously, when they had like 8 guys, but I don't know if I'm going to go there in this slate. Kawhi 0 ceiling, no thank you on the 42 burger. I disagree on that. He has a ceiling for sure. He's been involved with a lot of blowouts. So yeah, Kawhi, and again, below 9K, I like him. I like Paul George. Fake Kellyo, play Udonis Haslem, yeah. Steph Curry, Derrick Rose, Kenrich Williams, Jason Tatum, Karl-Anthony Towns, Frank Jackson. I'm not really looking to Frank Jackson in the slate. I really don't think I get to any Piston besides Saben Lee, and I'm only playing Saben Lee if he starts. Gafford or Denny, I wouldn't play either. I wouldn't play either on the slate. Is it worth it to throw Hardenstein in the utility spot and hope? Yeah. Again, it's whether or not, like, are you willing to risk that? So if Larry Nance gets ruled out after lock and Hardenstein starts, he's a smash value. So it's, again, risk reward there. Lee, Mann, Kawhi, Zion, Olynyk, Westbrook, Taj, and Marcus Morris for GBP. And keep an eye on Randall news, right? So Taj Gibson's only viable if Randall's out, right? Randall and Noel, I think, are good value plays if we get news that Julius Randle's out. So a little bit hard to say right now. I'm not going to play Taj Gibson. Oh, I have game time decision. Come on. So again, that's a little bit hard to say. I'm not playing Taj if Randall's and Thonsis Love. Again, he's gonna if he's gonna be popular, I'm going elsewhere. right? I know he played great last game, went for 49 fantasy points. What was it? This is why there's still an edge in DFS is Alize Johnson. Remember he had that big game when they had played 9 bodies, everyone was out for the Nets. The next slate with a lot of those guys back, he was 6% owned in the big tournament. Literally just shovel money, right? Get that GIF, shovel that money into the fire. If people are going to chase the Thanasis Antetokounmpo game, no. He probably will play 15 to 20 minutes. Not saying he's completely out of play, but if that ownership is going to be somewhat up, that no, I'm not getting a Thanasis. Yeah, Randall, again, hard to say. Bembry Broderick stack. Oh, I'm going to throw up. Saban Lee, Jerome Robinson, Denny, Tatum. I don't like that. What do you think is the best value? Kelly Olynyk. Best value besides Kelly and Lee? Depends on injury news, right? That just depends. So those Knicks bigs like Taj, Noel become a lot more viable if Randall's out. Again, if Larry Nance is out, keep an eye on whoever starts for the Cavs at center. Kyle Lowry might be out. There's a lot of news that we need to get. Levine and Hashimura, Noah and Rui. Levine is a fine contrarian play, but I like other plays in the slate. Sumner, no. Randall, game decision, yep. Burks if Randall misses. Yeah, so I think Burks and Barrett are viable tournament plays. It's really not a good matchup, but they are going to play big minutes and get a ton of shot attempts up. My main interest would actually be the bigs. So probably be Taj and Noel. Playing Westbrook, yeah, I think he's the clear spend up in the slate. For GPPs, I think you can get different. I think you can get different and fade them, but cash games, optimal lineup-wise, don't fade Westbrook tonight. I think you can definitely leave some room in the late games, right? There's possibly some value opening up. Kawhi or Zion, ooh. I like both as contrarian plays tonight. Give me Kawhi. I love that, Jeff. Whenever you see, if it's one of my players and I get so pissed that one of the guys get ruled out, but then I see the shoveling money GIF under it in the fantasy labs, I'm like, that always makes me laugh no matter what. Wall or Zion, Wall. Thoughts on Cat? Like him for tournaments. 11 games. A lot of good spend-ups going to overlooked in the slate. Broderick Thomas, Isaiah Hartenstein, or Jerome Robinson. Isaiah Hartenstein if he starts. Again, though, probably only playing him if he starts. Ingram, nah. Tatum or Paul George. Ooh, I'll go Tatum. Steph Curry, Derrick Rose. Okay. Again, not interested in Frank Jackson. Don't love Derrick Rose. Not out of play. Favorite stars, Westbrook. Westbrook's the clear star. In my opinion. Below that, it's tough, right? It just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to go a mini game stack and go Giannis Kawhi, or there's so many different ways you can go. So I don't really have a take besides Westbrook. I think is the clear spend up in cash games, clear spend up for optimal build. You don't have to play him in tournaments, right? But yeah, I don't see myself getting away from Harden or getting away from Westbrook if you're trying to build an optimal build. Westbrook, Kyrie, Robinson, Olynyk, Towns, Saban, Morris, and Hartenstein. I'm fine with that. Morris or Ariza. I think I lean Morris. The only reason I say that is because Bielitsa is available, and I'm not sure if that might take away minutes for Ariza. If I knew Bielitsa wasn't going to play, then I would have a little more confidence in Ariza. I'm probably not going to get to Rui. I get it. I get the Rui play. I'm not going to do it. Best utility 7K and below. Let's see. Safety-wise, probably Malcolm Brogdon. Good matchup. Should play mid-30s minutes. A guy that can stuff his stat sheet. I don't know if he has insane upside, though, with LeVert playing. Again, you can go to Moses Brown. My worry with Moses Brown is I think the ownership's going to be up. He's a good point per minute guy, but, we're not going to get 50 again from him. That's my only concern, and he's priced up. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. There really is. I think Kemba goes over to the slate. Good matchup. No Jaylen Brown, but again, Fournier playing. The two centers. These two centers are pretty similar plays to me, that being Moses Brown and Robert Williams. I think we get around 25 to 28 minutes from Robert Williams and around 30-ish from Moses Brown. Both are really good point per minute guys. But, again, if either of those guys get in foul trouble, you're in tough shape. And both those guys have shown that they are foul prone. Hernan Gomez thoughts. Which Hernan Gomez? Juancho Hernan Gomez? No. Now with Beasley back, he played 17 minutes, so no. If it's Juancho, no. Forward for 7.3.7. Is there even anything? Let's see. I don't think there's anything. I think if you made me pick right now, I guess it'd be Grant Williams. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you can use Denny too, right? I've heard some people talk about Denny. I'm fine with Denny Abidja. Again, he's super reliant in the scoring, but hey, like someone's got to score the ball besides Westbrook. So you can go to Denny or Grant. Again, I think Grant Williams plays mid-20s minutes. I don't really like either because Grant Williams is a terrible point per minute guy. Irving or Zion, I think I lean Kyrie if you can get to him. Yeah, Reggie or Sato, just keep an eye on that Kobe White news. If Kobe White's out, might lean Sato. DeMar against the Kings, like him, I think goes overlooked. Levine underpriced at 7.5. You mean 8.5? Or is that on FanDuel? Thad Young, no. Cash game for small forward. Ooh. It depends what range you're looking in. There's a lot of ways you can go here, and it also depends on news, so kind of hard to say. As far as like punt small forwards, and you can go to Jerome Robinson at the min price. Like, you're not going to feel amazing about it, but hey, I think he gets mid-20s minutes. You can go to Batum at 4.2 because I think he gets 30-ish minutes. And Marcus Morris viable, so like a couple of viable like value plays. Kenrich Williams, I think, is in play if he starts. All right, guys, a couple more minutes here. Pay up, pay down, Randall in. Yeah, so Randall in, that basically just takes everyone from New York out of play for me. Randall's in. I'm not getting to the bigs. I'm not getting to Barrett. And Reggie Bullock in. Yeah, absolutely. I'm staying away from the Knicks. So Knicks are a team I'm going to stay away from. Do not play any Knicks, in my opinion, in a tough matchup. Yeah, so stay away from them for sure. Choir Wall. Got anything else? Did more news just come, or? I know we just got that Randall and Bullock. Tony Bradley will make Thunder debut. Okay, so with that being said, Tony Bradley will make his Thunder debut. I think he's a really sneaky value play. I do. I think Tony Bradley is a good point per minute guy playing on a bad team. I think we get around 20 minutes from him off the bench. I think no one gets to him, but it's a risk, right? But I do kind of like him as a dart throw punt play. Thoughts on Zion for GPPs? Like Zion. He's been great. It's not a good matchup, but yeah. Moses or Calio. Yep, Tony Bradley playing. So I think, again, you can take a shot at him. With Tony Bradley playing, in my opinion, that hurts Isaiah Roby more. He's probably not going to play any of the backup five. So KPJ, fine play in the mid-range. Would rather get to Waller or Olynyk. No love for Rose. Not with Randall playing. And they just have too many point guards, right? They have Quickly. They have Alf Payton still. I'm not going to get to Rose. Yep, right now I got Russ in. Yeah, Russ is a scary fade. You can do it in GPPs, but it's a scary fade. Tatum for cash, I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with Tatum. No Jaylen Brown, but again, Fournier being in. Tatum would be the first Boston guy I'd look to get in my lineup for sure. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. Again, crazy 11-game slate. We're still waiting on a lot of news. So, we did just get, let's see. We got Thunder starters. Maladon. Svi Mikhailuk starting. Okay, so, let's see. Where's Svi? I'll talk about this really quick, then I'm going to jump out of here because I got to go stream for Patreon. So, yeah, Svi Mikhailuk is at 4K. He's starting. I think with him starting, probably plays 25 to 30-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more. So, yes, the answer is Svi Mikhailuk. You can add to your player pool as a value play. He's reliant on scoring, so like that is always the risk with him. But I'm thinking we get around 25 to 30 minutes from him, which makes him playable. Again, not like a smash play. I'm not like, oh, I see Svi Mikhailuk, I got to jam him in. No, he's in play, but again, super reliant on scoring. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. So good luck. I appreciate everyone coming to check out the stream, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.